وحلب ما حنخلي شيء بإذن الله ونرجع البلاد كلياتها.
We have new video into us from northern Syria, where in a stunning new twist overnight, President Bashar al-Assad sent his army to aid for his longtime enemy, the Kurds. They have their own semi-autonomous region inside Syria and are under siege from Turkey, which considers them to be terrorists. So far, Ankara claims to have captured more than 20 villages. Rebecca Collard has the latest from Beirut.
Syrian state TV this morning has been showing these images of the Syrian army entering the town of Tel Tamar, which is near the Turkish border. This is the first time Syrian soldiers have set foot in that town since the very early days of this uprising against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So this is a very significant development. And as we've been talking about, what happened yesterday was that the Kurdish forces, faced with this onslaught, this very, very escalating Turkish offensive, essentially said they're going to make a deal with the Syrian government. So the Kurds' position in the Syrian conflict has been an interesting one. You describe them as enemies. That's probably accurate. But at the same time, there has been very little battlefield confrontation between these Kurdish forces and the Syrian government. There has been clashes, but for the most part, they have kind of stayed out of each other's way. And the Syrian Kurds, of course, have taken control of a third of the country, ousting ISIS from it with the backing of the U.S., Natasha. Now, as we've been talking about, the U.S. pulled out its troops, Donald Trump saying that he was pulling out his troops last week, and then a further announcement yesterday that the rest of the troops would be leaving. And at that point, it seems that the Syrian Kurds essentially saw themselves with no other option to fend off this Turkish offensive, but to ask the Syrian president to send Syrian troops back to this territory with the support of Russia. So what we've heard from Turkish officials is that as of yet, this deployment of Syrian troops is only going to be along this border area with Turkey, essentially to stave off this offensive. But, you know, Natasha, as I said, the Kurds control 1/3 of Syria, 1/3 of the country. That is a massive chunk of territory. And I don't see at this point that there is going to be any other option than that the Syrian government will return in some form to these areas. The Kurds have said they're going to continue political negotiations with the government, but I don't really see another way that this will play out because the Kurds simply have no other choice at this point.